leading the way on air, online, and on the go. From WLWT, this is Issues.
And a good Sunday morning to you. I'm Richard Childs, filling in for Jan Michelle Lemon-Kearney, who'll be back with us next week for Issues. But for this week's show, a very, very full and wonderful Sunday morning. We have Becky Poplin who's going to be with us talking about AngelSense, along with Tamika Bobo, who'll be with us later talking about a very full calendar of community events coming up for this week. But this morning, going to start our conversation today with Becky Poplin, Ms. Poplin, talking to us about AngelSense. Good morning to you, Ms. Poplin.
Good morning. Hi.
Ms. Poplin, good morning. Thanks for coming with us. Talk to us a little bit about AngelSense and what this device does for you and for your daughter and for your family and other parents of special needs children.
AngelSense is a device that I use on my daughter. It's a GPS and it's also a communication device that I can listen in to conversations or wherever she may be. It's given me a peace of mind. This year she was not going, well, I deferred her diploma, so she is going to a new facility.
Ms. Poplin, your daughter Haley keeps a very, very busy high school schedule, I know.
She does.
She keeps a very busy schedule, and Haley, of course, is a special needs child, but I imagine one of the things that's so very important to you is for Haley to have her independence and for you to have the confidence in knowing that she's safe.
Exactly.
AngelSense helps you do that, doesn't it?
It does. Gives me a peace of mind.
Talk to me about your morning. I mean, it's a very small device that you just kind of clip onto her shirt, and she goes about her day and start at 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning, a van comes to pick Haley up. They take her to the high school. She transfers to another school bus, and then she goes off to a different facility. So I know in the morning when she leaves, there's an app on my phone that can tell me exactly the time that Haley leaves, when she gets to the high school, when she leaves the high school to go to the other facility. It also lets me know when she gets to the facility.
For you and your family, of course, with Haley being a special needs child, being able to have that independence, being able to go about her day, gives Mom a little peace of mind also, I imagine, because you can kind of follow her day a little bit and saying, oh, she made it here, now she's going to the next part of her day. Yes. I bet you get a smile kind of knowing where she is.
I do, yes. Yeah.
She gets a smile too, I bet, knowing that, hey, Mom's with me.
Right. She actually thinks it's like a cell phone that she wears, and she always says, you know, Mom is with me. And she'll kind of pat it knowing that, you know, I'm with her all the time.
Well, you know, that's the special thing. As any parent, we want to make sure, of course, that we're with our child. They know that we're with them, watching over, making sure they're safe, because that's the most important thing that we can always do.
Yes.
You know, we talked about AngelSense going beyond making sure a child is safe. We saw an incident where this device actually kind of stopped an abduction. Am I right?
Correct. There was a 15-year-old autistic child who was walking, and a man pulled her into the van. And I guess on the AngelSense, the mother was alerted that the child was in a place that they didn't know where it was. And because she hadn't named it yet. You can actually name where your child is. Like if they go to Frisch's, you can put Frisch's, and then we know constantly when your child is there. But this place, there was no name for it, so they alerted the mother through a text and said that your child is in a place that hasn't been named yet. And so she listened in and could actually hear the abduction going on. So she knew exactly where her child was and got in her car and went, called the police. And, you know, in that case, it probably saved a child's life.
Being able to step in with that type of intervention is certainly beneficial, of course, for law enforcement. Seconds matter in an incident like that.
Yes.
But you also had a close call, I guess. Nothing, of course, that severe,
right,
but a close call for you in the 1 year that you and Haley have been using this.
Yes. Haley had a substitute bus driver who was driving that day, and I noticed that Haley was like maybe 15 minutes late coming to the bus stop. So I got on the device, or got on my phone, and noticed that she was in another neighborhood. So I actually got in my car and drove to where the bus was and asked, you know, do you have my child, Haley Poplin? And they, you know, said yes. And they said, well, we weren't sure where to drop her off. And, you know, he was ready to call the bus garage, but, you know, I was lucky enough to know exactly where she was and know that she was safe.
Well, talk to me because, of course, Haley, again, being able to use this and just kind of clips it on her day-to-day, and for you to be able to follow along with the app and watching the software, and then knowing that you can listen in and say, wait a minute, something's wrong. Haley was supposed to be here 15 minutes ago. You were able to jump in the car.
I am able to jump in the car and go exactly to where she's at and find out what the situation is.
Finding out and knowing what that situation is something certainly very important. This device, you've been using this for a year.
Yes.
And I also understand that a lot of people who staff the facility where they monitor, also parents of special needs children?
Right. They have a consumer support area that if you have a problem with the device, you can call and get the support. And it's housed with parents of special needs children. A lot of times when you have a special needs child, you can't leave your child to go and find a full-time job. So this way the parent can be in the home and be able to be a support to other parents of special needs children.
That support from all parents, of course, as parents with special needs and for children, and you all form such an amazing community. It's such a wonderful support that you provide for each other. I know that you were a special ed teacher for a very long time, a very long and distinguished career. What we're going to do when we get a chance to come back, we'll probably talk a little bit more about, of course, that career, about this device. But as a mom, when you send your child out knowing that Haley's wearing this, what does it do for you?
It gives you a peace of mind, just knowing that she's safe. And as a mom, knowing where your child is all the time.
Knowing that she's safe, knowing that you have extra peace of mind, knowing that you can track the child, and if, of course, there's an emergency, just tune in and you can listen?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Well, getting a chance to tune in and to listen. We're going to talk a little bit more when we come back after our break, because I think this is something that is so very important for so many parents. And you have so many lessons that you can share with all of us just in how AngelSense has provided you a better sense of comfort, knowing that mom is listening in.
Yes.
We'll be right back a little bit more and continuing our conversation with Ms. Poplin and talking about AngelSense as Issues continues. Well, good morning again, and thank you for joining us for Issues. We're continuing our conversation this morning with Becky Poplin, talking about AngelSense and getting a sense of comfort. Ms. Poplin, you've been using this wonderful device at home for about a year now with your daughter, Haley. Talk to us, because there's an amazing, amazing community of support that's been behind you and the folks with AngelSense making this all work.
As I said, it's a device that I just feel at peace with, knowing where my child is all the time. I can get on the app, I can find out where she's at. Even on the app, it will trace exactly what route they took. If she's on a bus, what route they took in order to get to the destination. So,
within that year that you said, of course, you had to make the kind of adjustment in your day when you were alarmed. You said, wait, Haley's not where she's supposed to be or where I think she is, and I'm so blessed and fortunate that nothing was wrong. But you've been able to just go there and meet the bus. And I imagine that happens with a lot of caregivers, because your daughter, like most teens and 20-somethings, is very busy. Because of this, she can keep a very busy life. What are some of the activities she does?
Haley does ballroom dancing, horseback riding, swimming, just a lot of different activities. And I do have caregivers that come to the house and take her to some of these activities. So again, having the device on Haley, I know that the caregiver got her there safely. If I need to listen in, I could. So it just gives you a peace of mind knowing.
And for your daughter, being able to have her sense of independence as a 20-year-old, a late teen, that's invaluable, isn't it?
Absolutely. It gives her a lot of independence.
I can imagine this can serve a multitude of ways, though. Of course, for your daughter as a 20, to have her independence. As a younger child going to school, knowing that mom is with you, listening in, that's got to be neat, too.
Yes. And I even thought when my mother had Alzheimer's that it would have been a good device to have on my mother to kind of track where she was going all the time. But yeah, I wish I could have used that on her, but
Certainly a good idea, of course, in being able, a lot of uses. I didn't think about that. The family's out at Kings Island, kind of lost around. We're making sure we are because, again, Angel's always watching us, and that's wonderful to be able to be a close guardian angel.
Absolutely.
Tell me, how can we contact folks from AngelSense if we want to be involved and make sure that to pick one up?
There's a website called AngelSense.com.
Okay.
That's where I went and got the device and went from there. And again, they have the support people to help you get started with it.
And their support folks also, you can call when you need them as well. And you've got the information, of course. The AngelSense telephone number, if you are interested in purchasing one, is at 1-888-999-2023. And that service hotline, you said, is also manned by parents with special needs children?
Yes, it is.
Again, that number is 888-999-2023. You made a phone call to that number, of course, when you needed assistance before tracking down your daughter?
I have, yes. And they're very prompt and got right back with me, and we figured out what the problem was and went from there.
Well, let's talk about this. I'm going to pick up the device for a second because it's light. It looks, like you said, Haley thinks of it as her phone. There's a couple things you can do with it as well. You can kind of clip it on, and she wears it during her day.
Well, I have a pouch that I put it in, and the pouch comes with the device.
Okay.
And then I kind of fold it over, and what I do is I put it inside her clothing, and I put on this little pin.
Talk to me about that pin and that security device.
The pin is magnetic, and the only way Haley could get it off is if I had the little key thing to pull it off. This is the other part that goes on the back, and it is very secure. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll put a pin here just so it's not hanging loose. If she has a pocket on, it's much easier to stick it in the pocket and then put the pin on. But Haley cannot get it off at all. That's why it's so unique that she can't take it off.
And I imagine for that opportunity for a abductor as well, it's discreet, so someone else may not be aware that she has the item?
Absolutely. Well, and actually the man who did abduct the autistic child who was 15 years old did see the device, and he said, I want you to take that off. And she said, I can't, only my mommy can. And so I think that pretty much scared him and saved her life.
You talk about that lock. It's an interesting lock. This is kind of a key that takes it off. Looks a lot like what you'd see in a department store, right?
Correct. It's like a magnetic, so you just kind of attach it and then pull off the device.
And again, the device is in the small bag here.
Small
you
pouch.
Just take it out of the pouch, and it is an extra guardian angel, an AngelSense watching over you and watching over Haley when Mama can't be there.
Correct.
Certainly gives you a great sense of peace, I know.
It does.
Well, we're going to continue our conversation with you. It's certainly a pleasure talking about AngelSense and what AngelSense is able to provide for you and for Haley throughout her day. It's certainly something, as you mentioned, it's got a variety of different applications, a lot of different ways that folks may be able to use this for other people as well.
Yes.
All right. Well, coming back on issues, we're going to chance to say thank you so very much for starting your Sunday with us. AngelSense, of course, that website is angelsense.com. We'll also have a link to angelsense.com on our website at WLWT.com. We'll be back with more of issues in just a moment. And good morning again. I'm Richard Childs, filling in for Jan Michelle Lemon-Kearney again on Issues. Thank you for starting your Sunday with us, joining me again this morning. Ms. Popkin, talk to us a little about, because AngelSense has really just kind of captured my attention just in so many ways that it can be used. I know we were talking about a young lady who was abducted, an autistic child who was wearing AngelSense, and AngelSense may have saved her life. I say the mother was able to actually go into an app and listen in?
Yes. Through her phone, there's an app that you get with the AngelSense, and she knew that something was wrong because it said that her daughter was in a place that wasn't familiar. And so she was actually able to press the call button and listen into the device. Now her daughter can't hear them calling or can't talk back on the device, but the mother could listen.
And I imagine, of course, for that child not to be able to, or the abductor not to be able to hear that
Correct.
Someone has tuned in, that's got to be something that certainly got to perhaps save the life in this instance.
Absolutely.
But the mom able to listen in for clues, where's my child, or the abductor's voice, and being able to recognize that this child's in danger.
Yes.
Now talk to me, because this is, it's very small, it's lightweight, it just kind of clips on. You showed us that it's secured. And you mentioned the abductor perhaps was saying, I need you to take that off, and the child says, I can't.
Right. And that's what makes it so unique, is that, a child can't take it off unless you have the magnetic piece of the equipment to take off the AngelSense device.
What does Hallie think of her guardian angel that she wears with her?
She loves it. In fact, this morning, she was asking to put her phone on, but I told her I was bringing it to share to everyone.
So this is certainly just part of her day, part of her routine.
Absolutely.
Clipping it on at 6:30, and she goes on about her life independently and enjoying her day.
Yes, and when she comes home, we take off the device, and then she does charge it up for the next morning.
And we talked about how it helps your child with her independence, but for you, beyond Haley, this helps Mommy as well, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. I was very anxious when my daughter was going to a new facility. I knew she'd have to transfer to different buses, and that really made me anxious. So by finding this device, it gave me a sense of peace.
That's something I hear from a lot of parents, special needs parents particularly, in saying that, it is so difficult to go on with my daily routine because I don't know where my child is. I've got to be close to a phone. But this kind of gives you an extra set of eyes and ears, I imagine.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
For other parents in the special needs community, you all share such a great bond in talking about this device and in talking about helping one another. That's just such a unique community, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we learn from each other and find out what's going on in the special education field. So that's why I wanted to come on and share this device.
But that type of sharing, that's something that you've done for such a very long time. Long career as an educator?
Yes.
Primarily with special needs?
I taught 17 years in special ed and then finished my career as a third grade teacher.
Well, beyond being a parent, of course, and that's the primary, but also as a teacher, I'm sure that you would recommend this in your classroom, and it just provides that sort of opportunity for other parents as well?
Absolutely. And in fact, even if your child isn't special needs, I've had a lot of other parents come up to me and say, that would be great for my child as well. So, but especially for, a child with autism or whatever the special need is.
Or sure, of communications disorders. Now again, we've seen the website, www.angelsense.com. How much was the service? Did you pay for a service as well in addition to buying the device?
I do. When I bought the device, it was around $99. And then once a month, I pay about $94, just like a cell phone or something like that for the service.
Well, sense of peace of mind,
Absolutely.
Comfort, independence for Haley, independence for you,
Yes.
Priceless.
Absolutely. I would have paid beyond that just to have a peace of mind.
But again, with this device, it's certainly providing a benefit for you and your child that I don't think you could have imagined, that sense of freedom.
Exactly.
Now, Haley, again, 20, of course, and making her transition from high school, doing the program with work program.
It's a community-based program where she's out in the community and has a job like twice a week where she works. And my daughter Haley has severe apraxia, which is a speech disorder, so she doesn't have a lot of communication.
Okay.
And again, that was another reason to get the device, so this could be kind of her communication between myself and her.
But I know Haley doesn't meet a stranger, does she?
No, she doesn't. No.
I see Mama smile.
Yes. She loves strangers, which we're working on, but again,
but this helps.
Safety. Absolutely.
This helps in terms of keeping the safety and allowing Haley to be Haley.
Yes.
And allowing all of us to see the opportunity to allow Haley to grow.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned the service cost per month that you pay and the cost of the device. Possibility of insurance coverage as well?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
But yeah.
But that's definitely something to investigate in terms of the possibility of insurance. But, you know, this just seems like being such an invaluable lifeline now for your daughter, an opportunity to move forward, to continue, and of course, to grow.
Right. And I know my father, he had ALS, and he was always worried about my daughter's safety. So I know that, you know, he has passed on, but I know that he would be very proud that I have a device like this on my daughter for safety. Making
her proud and allowing Haley to grow up independently. Thank you so very much for sharing with us. We're going to be back with issues just ahead. Thank you very much for joining us for Issues and starting your Sunday with us. To Michael Bobo with us for this week's calendar. To Michael, lots of things going on, lots to do.
Yes, there are. We first have the African Professional Network, their 4th annual AppNet Symposium, Gain the Edge Networking, Business, and Community Engagement, Saturday, October 10th, 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the Anderson Center, 8070 Beachmont Avenue. For more information, call 658-1699. And next we have the Avondale Comprehensive Development Corporation. That is the 2nd annual Urban 5K, Feet in the Street. Saturday, October 17th, 7:30 a.m. Registration race begins at 8:30 a.m. in Lincoln Park, Avondale.
Now that race goes through the streets of Avondale, am I right?
It does.
Ozzie Davis and Patrick Cartier organizing that run. That's going to be something I think we're going to get a chance to get out and see more of next Saturday as well.
Yes, it will definitely be something to go to. And later that night, they're going to have the 2nd annual AC/DC Dinner and Dance, Homecoming. And that is going to be Saturday, October 17th, 6 p.m. at the Cincinnati Zoo. For tickets and more information, they can call 861-2232.
It's also in Avondale this week. Okay.
They also have some awards at the annual at the dinner dance. And the phone number for that is 861-2232 for the Avondale Corporation and Comprehensive Development Corporation.
All right. Well, again, it's certainly a lot to see going on. We certainly have appreciated having you with us this weekend for Issues. It has been a wonderful, wonderful day. Michelle Lemon Kearney will be back with us next week. Thank you very much. Have a good week.